Thank you. As it's shown and posted, I do want to just add on something kind of as an architect, but I believe that for downtown, again, small, narrow lots, they may be only 30 feet wide. I would like to add the possibility of what's called tandem parking. Tandem parking would just allow one car to be parked in back of another, so it could be a deeper garage. And that makes sense if they have a two-bedroom or if they're building two bedrooms. So that will help everyone concerned. So again, if there's no amendment to that, the only amendment I would suggest is just that we add the possibility of tandem parking. Councilwoman Whitehead?
I think we can also delete, page 28D.
Oh yes. Yeah. What's happening is that all of the other acrobatics that were involved when we tried to work out the downtown overlay are crossed out, and they are deleted in that. You said D. Okay, no more than one. Well, as shown is the way it's listed.
Actually, if it's okay, I'd like to explain it to any constituents that are watching. So as it currently stands, a landowner can build 4 residential units and not have any residential parking. And that was put in the code to incentivize smaller landowners to invest. But what we're doing is we're requiring any residential unit that is built will have parking. So I just want to make that really clear that we're removing an exemption that allowed 4 units to have no parking. So, and we're replacing it with very reasonable parking accommodations for these smaller landowners. And that's what we passed. Thank you.
Mayor, so I understand on page 27, are we striking 1 that is highlighted and I on page 28?
I see that's correct.
Okay.
We strike 1, and because we're just clarifying how many spaces we need, and we don't need to, it's not a waiver, we're actually requiring it. So that's a good clarification. Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilwoman Whitehead. Please mark your vote.
Mayor, thank you. I feel like I keep interrupting you, but staff is trying to figure out exactly where you wanted the tandem parking and if there was consensus on that item. So you raised that item when we were talking about I
think an illustration could be made on page 33, for instance, or 34, where it says a typical parking space. And, there could be an addition or an illustration of that. And it would be perhaps the place to do it. In the otherwise, you're bound into angular parking and parallel parking, and so I think having a tandem parking could be illustrated there in a figure drawing on page after page 33.
To make sure staff understands, and jump in, Randy, because you're probably better at these concepts. My understanding with tandem parking, being from Missouri and not having a lot of experience with that, is that both cars then have to move in order for the car to come out. And so were you wanting that to be an option across the board, or were you wanting that to be an option on just these smaller projects that have limited parking?
Good question. I would say they would have to be under the same ownership. So in other words, a 2-bedroom could have tandem parking because they are required to have 2 spaces in the downtown small lot, excuse me, situation. So whether it's appropriate to illustrate it as a, with the graphics that you have in your illustrations, but we could say graphic to follow, but it would actually be perhaps possible to add it as another item right under downtown parking for small lots.
And again, just to make sure we know how to write this up, you're thinking it would just be for residential units when we're parking one residential dwelling that tandem parking spots might be allowed? Or are you also thinking that there are times that tandem parking spots might be allowed for commercial uses?
Only for residential uses. I think that makes the most sense.